working group Manifesto, inspired by by Gravity's audit, and also of and also of the roadmap. And then we're going to get into our intro section and Sourcecred parameters hack session that we spoke about last week. And then there was some mismatches on people meeting. So I think it's actually great to do in this call. So everyone is here and we can all say what we think about the Sourcecred parameters. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because there's so many people working in my house, and yeah, a lot of things going on, but I'm fully here. So, working group Manifesto. Let me share my screen. I had a great audit today with Zep and Ivy, and we had a lot of reflections, and we went over like what is that we need to show to the community and to communicate more often. So the Manifesto of Softgov. So what are the goals that we want to achieve with this working group?
You're not sharing the document.
Oh.
You're sharing Discord screen.
Hold on. Is it working now?
Yeah.
Nice, thank you. So the goal of this working group is to apply Ostrom's principles. And then here you can find all of the principles and also work based on the data collected by the first iteration of this working group. That we have a huge Miro board full of references that I don't know if you had the chance to jump in there yet, but this board, it's now view only because there's too many other boards that were open, so we can't contribute anymore. But you can see a lot of data and a lot of inputs that we had in the first iteration of this working group. That was it was mostly we were working on this board. So all of the things in blue are things that we accomplished already. And this board also, like there's a comment here for things that are in progress. So this is cool to check it out when you have the time. And how will this benefit the TEC community? It's mostly from ensuring a safe transition from the cultural build phase to the launched commons by having like a strong culture that will resist the winds of a token being launched. And what is considered success is to have a contribution reward system such as praise or Sourcecred or both that continues to reward soft governance contributions post-hatch. That's why we've been putting so much attention into Sourcecred and getting this running now that we are so close to the hatch, and also to have clearly identified practices that will ensure the 8 principles are followed by the TEC. Failure would be to not test the assumptions that we've been building pre-hatch, and to have a lack of engagement, to start the hatch without a clear plan for how people will be rewarded and for how the 8 principles are happening. And then this session is a little bit not so like in order. And that's why I'm going to show the roadmap of what are the clear milestones. So have forum posts and GitHub issues for these items that are brainstorming contribution reward systems. So we have done that already. And now we're in the phase of actually like working on it. And then the principle 1 and 2 that are the rules and boundaries, propose a written agreement. So once the code of conduct Git book is finished, then we will propose that, and that will be the disagreement if we think these are the boundaries of the TC. And then 3, experiment the advice process in the forum as part of submitting a proposal. That's also there. And we've been talking more about how to use the advice process in general, not only when submitting proposals. And then syncing with the legal working group, that's happening. It's pretty much done. And then the brainstorm of accountability methods, transparency came up like amazingly, and it's taking care of this part. And we've been working together. Sync with conflict management working group and all the work that you guys have been seeing from Gravity. And then ensuring our fractal configuration towards the community stewards working group. So the deadline initially is to have this working group running at least 2 months post-hatch, and then we're going to see what is the necessities that come up. But for this part and for those objectives, at least. Yeah, and then I put most of you guys here that have been coming to all of the calls. And that's it. So if anybody has any questions or clarification points about the soft governance working group. Hi, Mitch. See, it's your first time here. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Right now, I'm just going to be listening in and trying to understand what you guys are working on a bit better.
Awesome. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions at any time. And then, yeah, I'll just quickly show the roadmap. This beautiful roadmap is props to Tamara that organized us into having like all of this so many things happening. And sorry, Tam, I moved something here that doesn't look that great, but so the phase that we are at with Softgov right now is working on proposals for working groups. So if anyone needs help to propose anything, you can talk to me and we can ensure that the process is happening and it's flowing. And if there's any problem, we can change it, figure it out. This is the time. And it has been working. So there are proposals once in a while in the forum, and we have the 3 sessions. And we've been creating this culture of voting mostly on the weekend. So people know that always like Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the day to like check out if there's any proposals open for voting in the forum. And then during the week, it's when these proposals are posted there. So we can create this flow. And then the cultural agreements is the handbook, like I said, and the reward system and praise integration is the Sourcecred and what we're working on right now. So yeah, just wanted to share with you guys because we haven't done that in this call. And then I want to jump to this intro question. Since we're talking about Sourcecred, and I think there's so much about game design and things that we can learn with games, with reward systems, with punishment mechanisms. I mean, we don't want necessarily that, but we've been implementing graduated sanctions and thinking about this incentive aligned world. So I just wanted to know, what is your favorite game and why? And I'll pass to Griff.
My favorite game and why? Man, that's so tough. I don't know. I used to love Tetris. I don't know. I really like Tetris. And why? Just nostalgia, probably. I had we used to play it in math class like on our calculators and have like secret competitions for high scores. I'll pass it to Livia.
That's not fair. I didn't think it would come to me. I think one of my favorite games is chess, just because it was the first game, maybe not the first, but one of the first games I learned how to play. My mom used to work in this square that had a library in front of it. And every time I was bored in her work, I would go to this library, and there was a chess teacher that was always there. So, yeah, I love playing until now. And why? I think because it's always instigating on how, like, the things you did. It's so, like, that moment when you know that someone did something that you couldn't see, and you're like, and then you just want to play it again to catch it before it happens, or like, yeah, trying to advance the moves on and making it happen. And I'll pass to Santi.
Give me a second. I'll pass it to Septimus. I'm busy answering some things here.
Thank you, Santi. Well, my favorite game definitely is Heroes of the Storm. I was actually competing on this game. The most interesting feature is like you are on a team with four other guys, and you have like this same goal, and you work together so hard, and yeah, just that team sharing is awesome. And yeah, it's kind of competitive, so I was having so much fun. I'll pass it to Jake.
Sorry, what was the name of it?
Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes.
I didn't really play a lot of video games. I really liked God of War. That was a fun game.
Can you turn your mic up, Jake? I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Is that better? No?
Yeah.
Can anybody else hear me?
I mean, we hear you, but
Ready to
We hear you. It's just a bit.
Okay, is that better?
powering off.
That
No?
is better.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I was just saying that I didn't really play video games, but I did really like the God of War series. I thought that was fun. Kratos was fun. But honestly, like something we used to do, we always went out a lot, you know, like outside. You remember when kids would go outside? But yeah, so we'd go up in the Horseshoe Mountains, and well, we were getting stoned, and we would catch rattlesnakes. So the trick about catching a rattlesnake is one person's you gotta, you know, get close to the snake, obviously, but rattlesnakes don't chase you. They coil up and then they strike when you get too close. And but the whole trick is to like be really slow, and you get right up to the snake, like not face to face with it, you know, bite your nose, but like you get pretty close, and you gotta lock eyes on it and just stare at it dead in the eyes, and you can't move. And that snake will just sit there and do the same thing, and it's just rattling. And then your buddy comes up from way back around and sneaks right up behind it, and the snake won't know because it's just locked on you. And then your buddy grabs it, and then we catch rattlesnakes. The thing is, you're high, right? And you're like in snake world because you're like just on this snake. And then you're like, your buddy grabs it and you stand up and you like soften, you know, you're like, oh, I got the snake. And then your buddy throws it at you. Ah! I mean, we would constantly fall for that. Like it was stupid, but.
Are you making this up, Jake, or is this real?
No,
Because I've heard redneck stories, and I actually believe it. If you tell me that it's real, I believe you.
Yeah, that's what we did. I was like 15, 16 years old, and we'd go up in the mountains and be stoned and catch rattlesnakes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real. Well, where I was from Montana. That's what we did.
Yeah, no, I know. My ex-husband used to drag people around on fucking trunk hoods, drug behind trucks with no helmets. I get it.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay. I'll pass it to you, Meta Verde.
All right. Well, on the Jake theme, After years of riding horses that no one else would get on along country roads and through fields and such like with no fences, etc. My favorite game, it's been Tetris, and it's been oh dang, I forgot the name of it now. It doesn't matter. My favorite game is Blossom Blast Saga, where you connect 3 or more flowers and they explode in this juicy thing, and I like it because it just stimulates my color receptors, and that's all I've got about it. I pass it to you. Santi, you ditched on this before. Tam, what's your favorite game?
So, like Livia, I grew up playing chess, and I really love chess. And when I was younger, in my early 20s, I lived on Sullivan Street, and it's 3 blocks away from Washington Square Park, where you could pick up a lot of games, mostly speed chess, almost exclusively speed chess. And there's 2 great chess shops on Thompson Street around the corner from me, where I spent a lot of time. So I spent a lot of time playing chess, and I would say probably for a good 10 years, I spent most of my time playing chess. I really loved it, and I haven't played in a very long time. So now my favorite game is poker. I really enjoy poker, and I think both of them because they're very psychological games with a little bit of like strategy on top. Like, so they're like psych, strategy, and math, and those like combine really nicely together. And Santi, you look like you're ready, so I'll pass to you.
Thank you, Tam. Well, I'm old, you guys know. There were no games when I was a kid. So I used to play pinball. I was the pinball king. And then, you know what happened? Space Invaders came. So that's the game I was playing. And that was about it. I became older. I went to college, and I never really got into gaming. I played a little bit here. Then my kid was born, and he was chasing me to play Mario Kart with him, and I was unable to play at all. He had to play his game and my game at the same time. So that's all my gaming experience. I'll just pass it to I don't know if Mateo has got
Wait,
it.
what was the other name? Space
Invaders. It was the very first game with these houses on the bottom, and they were the just
Space Invaders, exactly.
Yeah, Space Invaders, right? The very first one.
Hey guys, so for me, that's a tie between The Legend of Zelda and Chrono Trigger because they marked my infancy, my childhood. Those were the games that made me fall in love with computing, actually. So that's a funny story because I didn't have access to a Nintendo or a console, a gaming console. So I had to find a way to play it. And by those years, there were emulators running on PC. So the only way I had to play those games were running in a not so legal way, a pirate version of those games. So yeah, and I loved it because there's something really cool about RPGs and nostalgia in those, in particular, the music, the storytelling, the how the puzzles that you need to solve. I don't know. I really love it. So I think that's it. I'll pass it to Juanca.
Thanks, Mateo. I think I love soccer because it's like just one team is made of 11 players, and all of them have to like play in sync, and it's a lot of like teamwork, but also like there is a lot of individuality, and I love how it is seen from so many different angles to analyze each play. And yeah, I think it's amazing. It's a beautiful sport. And I think I will pass to Mitch. Do you want to pass?
Sure. I do have a favorite game. It's called Civilization 6. Maybe some of you heard of it. It's a very long game. It's turn-based. There's more than one way to win, and those are all things that I really love. I will pass it to Nate.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of what Tam was talking about earlier. I was a big fan of strategy games, things like poker and Magic the Gathering and so on. But I think my favorite one of all time was definitely a Sega Genesis game called Lion King. And I don't know why, I just have so many fond memories of playing that video game. And it was just amazing. So I'll put that one as my favorite. And I will pass to, let's see, who hasn't gone? Mateo, Juan, done. Decentralized SDGs, you are up.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I don't know if it'd be my favorite game, but I really enjoyed watching it as a kid. It was called Supermarket Sweeps, and I was thinking about it recently because as we move into a world of programmable money, I just think it's fascinating the way it was both a quiz show of like trivia, and then you would have this opportunity to go crazy in a supermarket, and you had to pick out the most expensive stuff, which was shocking how many people picked cans, which I always thought was kind of funny. I just think when you're, I just can't help but think about tokenomics, the future of economic stimulus, and what Supermarket Sweeps says about gamification. Thanks. It's a fun game to watch. Over. Was I the last one?
I think so, yeah.
Jake Bell?
No, he went one. Did anybody didn't go? No. Feel free to jump in the agenda and correct the wrong names of your games that I put it there. And that would be really nice to have this list after. So we can jump into the Sourcecred parameters hack session. Mateo or Santi, do you want to lead us?
Can you share the document that we've been working on? And I would love if Mateo can start explaining the different actions that we have set up right now, so everyone can understand those and can intervene and give their inputs. We had scheduled a session for tomorrow, and I think another one for Thursday. We have to check that out, Tam, because if we go through it today, we do. If we don't, we can have the session tomorrow. But I don't think we need another one on Thursday. So
Yeah,
if we don't have, go ahead.
I think we had it last Thursday, and we didn't have a chance to actually have the whole session, so we planned it for this Thursday. And if we finish it, I'm happy to cancel it.
So the one on tomorrow, it's not needed because I see two of them in my calendar. I don't know if it's the same thing or not.
I see one for tomorrow as well, from 3 to 4 CET. And then on the 25th, 5 p.m. CET.
So we just get rid of the one for tomorrow and we keep the one for Thursday in the event we need it because we don't finish today?
The one on Wednesday works better for me than the one on Thursday.
No, it's fine. It's fine for me Wednesday. Let's do it Wednesday.
Okay. Does that work for everyone else?
Yeah, Wednesday's very good. Thursday's at like 6 a.m.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So I would love if Mateo can share. Can you share the document, Mateo?
So yeah, give me a second. I wanted to mention something cool that I'm not sure if I missed or it was a really cool update that the Sourcecred guys did, and it helped us really nice for us today because if you hover your mouse in the title of the interaction, it shows you a little pop-up explaining in better words what that means. So I think they made a better work in that trying to explain it than me because I didn't go into much detail between those. So when we are going to each one of them, I think we can read the paragraph that they put in there and try to analyze how much the value should be. That's just something I wanted to mention before sharing the document because it's really cool. If you go to the Sourcecred Explorer, you can now see it. Let me share and I'll show you really quick. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. What I mean was this: if you hover, you see a little explanation pop up in there. Connects a post to the post that it is a reply to. That's really cool, and that wasn't before. So yeah, the document is this. Do you want to give the summary, Santi, or should I go?
Well, I don't think it's needed. The idea is that if can you switch to the Explorer window? The idea is that anyone who wants to can go into this window. The link is in the document, and we are probably going to be able to share that document. Can you share it, Libby, on the channel, on the self-government channel, so anyone can open it up if they want. So if you go to this Explorer, this is where all the configurations are set up, and this is what that can be changed. All right. So what's important is that anyone who wants understands exactly what are the actions that have some power right now, and they are not zero. Okay. And if you have any issue against, or you need a specific explanation on that because you don't really understand what it means, just request it to us. We think this is fine to start. There is no good or bad way. There is no good or bad parameters. We just have to experiment. We've been experimenting for quite a while. We see that the outcome is fine. And as soon as we move forward, we will get more real outcome, because right now, since we've been testing and we're not giving away anything, you cannot really say that this is working on a final version. It's more a test version, but we will be able to switch any of those parameters. So the idea is that you understand them. We're going to go through the GitHub ones with Tamara, who's the one that is more to be, and we might be able to switch 2 or 3 on the GitHub area that are now the way you see them. And after that, we will create the post on the forum to request for voting to launch. Okay. So today is your time to ask any questions on any of those that you may think you don't really understand what the actions are, or you don't think, or you don't understand exactly the weight. Every one of those levers can go from 0 to 32, and it's not really the amount; it's the comparison between the others. Okay, if you give one 1/8 and the others 1/2, that means that the ones that have 1/2 multiply more than the one that has 1/8. Okay, so it's just, you have to try to think on every action compared to the others.
I think we can go one by one and then see how is it set now, and if there is anything we want to change.
Perfect. You want to go, Mateo?
Sure. Should we start with GitHub or Discord?
I vote GitHub.
Okay. So the main difference is the ones up here are the main actions of the platform. So there you can see the whatever actions that happens through the repository, through the issue, the pull request review, comments, commits, and the bots. So this means that this is the whole value that is going to be given to these kind of interactions that are more explicitly described below. So, for example, in this moment, we are only giving cred to the pull request interactions and the pull request reviews. the pull request so far is getting a 4x, 4 multiplier, and the review is getting a 1 multiplier for the credit. Do you guys think we should give more value to another kind of interactions like comment, commits, repository before we jump in and check the interactions that describe it?
Yeah, well, there's a few things. So there are some groups that are using GitHub as actual development repository. So the Common Simulator may be doing that, and other software projects. But TEC is also using it as an issue repository for project management. So we use ZenHub as the project management layer on top of GitHub. So pull requests may be appropriate for the software development projects, but they are used exactly 0 times for any of the working groups, for example. So it sort of depends the behavior that we want to encourage. If we want to encourage people to open issues and close issues that are related to the working groups, then these parameters wouldn't make sense today, although that might make sense for the software development streams. So anyone who's developing software and is actually merging code, from the project management perspective, we're not merging code, we're just opening issues, planning them in our sprints, and then closing them. I would say of any of them in this sort of the top section, the only 2 that would have any relevance to the working groups would be the issues and commit. And comment. And I guess my question around issue would be, what does that actually entail? Is that somebody's assigned to the issue, or somebody opens an issue, or somebody closes an issue, or any action with a state change of the issue?
That's a little bit more described below, because in GitHub there is something particular that almost every action in the platform has the same kind of interactions. For example, you can give a heart to a pull request or a comment or an issue. So everything that you make there has the same kind of interactions. So the main difference in here is that what interaction is actually being given to, being given to. So for example, if we set up, I don't know, the same amount as a pull request for the issue creation and the comments, as you mentioned, that are the 2 that we should contemplate right now. Here we need to see what interaction is counting the most. For example, right now it is being more important to create it, to be an author of some action, or to be referenced, merged for the case that can be merged, and given some kind of emojis. So I guess that's.
Yeah, we could forget all of the emojis because we're using a different layer than we're using ZenHub. So we don't have that to date in ZenHub. We don't use the emojis, so you can't like or heart particular issues. But like if I try to go through an exact case, let's say comment references. So comment references, let's say I mention Mateo in a comment. Is that the equivalent of comment and then the edge case, alpha references beta? Is that what that would represent, that weight?
The thing with the interaction is that we need to imagine the source code as a graph. And if you try to understand a graph, you can put it in simple terms as 2 dots connected through an edge. So the edge can go both ways, from A to B or from B to A. So as the graph is completely connected, you need to check what is being given the value in what direction. So that's what alpha and beta is representing, the nodes in the graph, and the interaction is whatever is happening through the edge. So in most cases, alpha and beta is just trying to set a particular flow in one direction, and the other one is regularly ignored. For example, in the references, if we are setting up alpha is referenced by beta, there shouldn't be the other direction. It shouldn't be that important to establish a value for the contrary direction. So that's why when alpha is references beta, we are giving 0x. So
Yes.
yeah.
And does that apply to these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Do the edge weights apply to the 5 nodes above? There's node weights and edge weights. So the node weights, I guess I'm trying to see, like, I guess I'm trying to it's still very theoretical for me, and I guess I'm trying to make it more tangible. Just to see what action would cause some cred to be gained or awarded, or grains to be awarded.
I'll try to explain it like this. You have a complete weight, the 4x, let's say, and if we consider every interaction with 1/8, 1/4, 1.5, that should be contemplating only the 4 that the interaction is having right at the moment. If a commit or both has 0x, everything below in here is completely ignored because it won't multiply. So you can see it as, if we follow the analogy of the bucket is assigned to be this wide, and then for each interaction, the person should only get that percentage that is related in here. No more, no less, but related to this multiplier, a specific multiplier. It's a little bit complex, and I'm still having trouble to make it easy to explain. Maybe Santi, could you help me there?
So as I understand, if let's say someone creates an issue, and that issue is created and it has a 4x, because issues has 4x the way they are right now, and then that once that issue is created, we see that there's the author on the lower group of actions. There's the author. So the author gets 1x out of that 4x that was created, because it's the author of the issue. Okay. Then if there's what else can we think of on an issue, like a reference? If reference had something, then right now it's 0. But if you would refer someone on an issue, you would get something. Okay. So you have to think on actions have specific power, and the top ones are actions. And there's many things you can do with those actions. You can put, so the amount that an action is given, it's distributed between all the different behaviors that can happen in that action.
Okay. I think I get it a little bit, although I think it's referenced by, because GitHub can reference, like an issue can reference another issue. So maybe it's like the parent issue has been referenced by another issue, so there's some extra cred for that second reference.
I'm thinking that it could be good, because it's good to get everything clarified, and especially on GitHub, I think it's where it's a little bit tougher. But maybe what we could try to do is have it a few days and test it and see the outcomes, specifically on GitHub.
I would love that, actually. But can we try changing the settings now? Like drop pull request and pull request review to 0, and leave issue and comment at 4, or whatever you think is sane there. And then from the bottom, just drop all of the emojis to 0, because I'm 100% sure those won't be used. And then it would be great if we could do this, and then we could see the results, and I think that will make things a lot more clear if we could.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be easier? Do you think it's going to be easier to keep all the actions at times one, or is it better to keep some with a higher percentage than others to try to see the outcome? You think it's going to be easier to measure if we keep them all on the same
For the node weights or the edge weights? For which ones?
The edge ones.
No, because I know the functionality in GitHub. I never use that functionality in GitHub.
Okay.
Just those emojis I know. There's one that says references, which I would say maybe what you say is a good idea, Santi. Everything else, if you look at alpha references B, maybe make everything but the emojis one.
You know what I'm gonna try to do? I don't know. I don't think I'll have time this week. But if we change them next week, I'm gonna try to work on the huge data file that gets generated every 6 hours, I think. And let's experiment. You can experiment with your user, and then I'll try to grab all the info from your user, and we can both check all that information. Okay, I will have to just fight with that file because it's huge, but I'll try to get it. If I don't succeed, I may just ask for help, but I'll try to get it. If I get it, then we can just dive into absolutely everything that's there and see if it's reacting the way we expect and you expect that react. And then from there, we will be for sure, that everything's going on the direction that we are expecting.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. Should we? What you said about changing all of the that are active to one is a good idea. Should I don't know. Do you want me to send you the configuration? Do you want me to do the configuration and send it, or do you want to do it now, like live?
I can save it instantly.
Okay, cool.
As soon as we're done, I save it, and when we decide to put it live, I just update the instance with it. But I wanted to mention that with this current configuration, we can, I haven't tried this really much, but if we recompute the cred, we can check it out right now as a form of simulation. It is not implying that the source code is being changed right now. So when it ends, I think we can check out again the values and see how much they could have changed.
Yeah, but the problem is that you have the total of cred. You don't have every single action impact. That's the thing. You're gonna see that maybe TAM from changing the parameters, instead of getting 3.5, is gonna get 4.5. But you're not gonna know where that difference is coming from.
That's true.
That's what we need to dive into the file and see every single action that she does for a couple of days, or specific ones that I can try to look for and see the outcome.
So we should change everything here to one and try.
No, I think it's better if we have different. I think it's better if we have different values, because then we will get different outcomes, which is also a better way to see the impact.
Good.
Sorry, one more comment. The two merges is merged by and merges. We can drop those to 0 as well.
So Tim, I was going to ask real quick. Instead of changing the emojis to 0, would it not be better to actually just change our procedures up to accommodate for source cred in the short term and then adjust accordingly later on? Because I know I've done like some work, but I don't really necessarily follow the GitHub issues. Like, you'll pull a GitHub issue for me, but it's not necessarily I'll close it out or anything like of that nature. However, if if it's like this is the procedure of how you're supposed to do this to make sure that you get the source cred that you need to get, then we can utilize those functions. I know that you said that the emojis don't really work within GitHub. Is that what I understand?
No, they work perfectly in GitHub, but we're a layer on top of. We have a sort of like a view using a tool called ZenHub, and it affords us a lot of project management capabilities that GitHub doesn't. So if you're actually on GitHub, you can use these emojis, but you can't on ZenHub right now.
So the issue is that you have a lot of work not being represented.
No, it's just that we don't give thumbs up to issues. That's all. So we don't heart an issue. If somebody opens an issue, we don't it or a thumbs up. And I think it's a cutesy, nice to have thing, but it's certainly not required because, yeah.
So basically, Nate, if we leave those emojis with some weight, and someone gets some reward, he has specifically went to GitHub instead of ZenHub to get the reward.
Gotcha.
He would be gaming basically right now.
There would be a way to game it that way. That's true. There's always a way to game it though.
Well, and I have another question about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm completely allergic to GitHub and ZenHub both. So the only way in which I contribute at all is via this Discord and conversations. And so I just makes it think that there's a whole bunch of things about what I'm doing. I'm not doing much recently, I know, but in the past I had been, and none of that was on GitHub and none of that was on ZenHub. So I just wonder how does that work?
Yeah, Dugadas, we are still gonna be keeping the praise rewards because we understand that there's things that we can get from Sourcecred that it's hard to catch on the praise reward system that we have right now, and the opposite. So it's not that one is going to replace the other. We're going to keep on both for a while, see. Of course, we're going to keep seeing how we can improve and how we can do things better. But for now, I would say if you don't use GitHub because you don't do anything related to GitHub, but you contribute, you're going to keep getting your rewards from the praise system the way it is.
I see. So these are like two halves of a thing, is basically okay.
Right.
I got it. Thanks for clarifying.
And Santi, I have one more question for you. In terms of the parameters for the Sourcecred, are there going to be justifications that are defined over time of like what type of value which each of these edge weights have and each of these node weights have, and are they updatable as we go on?
They are updatable anytime. My idea, and that's my personal idea, and we have to reflect that on some forum post for everyone to vote, is that we set up a procedure where anyone on the community can raise their hand and say, hey, I think we should give credit to the emojis because now we're using GitHub. Okay, and then the community votes, and if the vote passes, we just switch it. It's just a matter of doing it. It's Mateo or me or whoever has power on that. And that's another issue that we have to discuss. Do we create a group that takes care of this? Because if we cannot give control to this to many people, okay? And within that group, probably we're gonna need consensus too. So there's gonna be 2 or 3 levels of stages that we will have to go through. But these parameters are there to be changed because the community is gonna change. Now we're using ZenHub. We may switch to GitHub if GitHub, brings more functionality that works for us. Even getting rid of Sourcecred because maybe after a few months we decide, okay, this is not what we expected. Let's forget about Sourcecred and kill it. So my idea is that we launch, we monitor, we start giving away cred because once you start giving money, real money, things start behaving slightly different than when you're playing or testing. And then have a procedure established that anyone on a relatively quick manner, especially if there's cheating that we appreciate, we can switch right away, or at least stop or freeze someone until we can, quickly check what happened there and discuss internally if it was worth or not. We can freeze someone for a week or for a period, and if we have doubts and we have to meet with that specific person and ask for any explanation of the behavior because we think that it's not reasonable, and if after their explanation it's our mistake, then we just activate it again. So these parameters are there. They can be switched any single time. It's just a matter of really understanding how they are. Sometimes it's better to look at the wider picture these are a bunch of levers. If you perceive that you're contributing and you're getting what you expect, and you always have to check that compared to the others. Okay, I've been more active this week, especially on GitHub. I've been doing all this work and I haven't got any credit. I haven't noticed any difference between last week. How come my actions are not, being considered? Okay, because these levers are not working the way they should be working for the actions I've taken. Okay, let's request that at least on the future they change so I get recognized. Okay, that's the point here.
Yeah, I think it's good to see this as a data collection mechanism to improve our system of rewards and of participation. And if it works as like the main thing, that's awesome. But if not, it's a win-win situation because we're going to be understanding so much about how our contributions work from this.
Right. Sorry, Tam. The first point, Nate, is to compensate contributions, but the side benefit is what Libby mentioned. We can analyze how the community is behaving. Are we using GitHub as much as we should be using it, or not? Do we push this lever a little bit so people start putting the issues when they have to? I know it's not probably the best way to give rewards, but it's a way to improve. If it's a way to improve and it works, why not?
Yeah, I guess I have two comments. The first is, I don't know that we should change our processes to fit Sourcecred. I think Sourcecred has extremely limited functionality right now, and they will probably grow as a product in their own product lifecycle and will offer many different things. For example, maybe even interactions on Discord or something else. But for now, it seems like it's a great place to start with something, to trial an idea where we can automatically generate rewards for certain behaviors like participation in the community. It's a very indirect measurement, and that's why praise is so important, because that comes from one person to another person, whereas this is sort of like just I don't know, watching system interactions. And I also want to say, I don't think we should set the GitHub until we compare it to what we have in discourse, because I don't know what 4x means, but does it mean the same? Like, do we want to encourage those same behaviors at the same scale as what's set for discourse right now? Which I see we're only setting likes, but not posts or topics. And I wonder if that's what we don't want to encourage posting, it seems, or do we want to reward people posting, or are we afraid that that's going to become a spammy action if that's one of the settings?
Yeah, that's the counterpart. Okay, we're gonna have a bunch of posts that are meaningless for the community. My intention is that whoever posts is because that's the medium of communication in the community. And I think, and that's a personal sense, that it shouldn't be rewarded because it's the voice of the group he's working on, or the action that it's just a way of communicating to the community what we're doing. We need to vote. We need to show you what we're doing. So it's part of my work. I'm working on legal. If I have to put something related to legal, that's the place where I put it. I shouldn't be compensated. I get compensated for working on legal, not for posting what I'm doing on legal. Okay, but that's the way I say it. Again, it's here to discuss and to test and to measure. And if after 2 weeks of measurements we see that we have a bunch of spam, we just put it to 0 again, and we're just gonna post those that really think that need to be those things that really think that need to be posted.
Well, speaking of the post, I mean, that could be a moderator's job as well. Because if somebody that isn't actually paid and is contributing and is going out of their way to specifically write something about bonding curves, that's not really just something. And I would like to be able to see that individual that spent the time to write it in a way others could understand it actually rewarded for his time. But being a moderator, as I am, I'm an admin of the forum, then I mean, I could simply, I guess we'd have to work on that, but I would be able to be, maybe we should be a bit more strict on who gets to post or something to that manner. So they can't just post anything.
Jake, I completely agree your point of view, and I see it. But how do you measure the time of one post and the time of another? Or the effort of a post that's only one paragraph, but it has 2 weeks of work behind, or the effort of one post that's 2 pages long, but it's 2 hours work. It's very difficult to measure that. So there is no perfect way, and that's why we need to experiment. I see where you are going, and I don't have any problem rewarding. I try to think it on a way that I don't want cheating. Okay, so and it's a different angle. You can try to fix these levers trying to avoid cheating, or you can fix these levers try to, reward. There's a middle point that we have to think and experiment and
yeah, you're right. We're gonna have to just pick one and try it for a little bit and see how it goes, and then switch and try another one and see how it goes and decide which one's best.
And again, at the end of the day, personally, and forgive me if I'm being mean, but I don't give a shit about all these levers. All I want to see is that I get contributed for what I think is my contribution to the community. And period. If you're going to have to be dealing, if this is half, I'm going to give a like, or I'm going to post here, I'm going to post there. I'm not here to mess around with, all these levers in Sourcecred. I get, I don't know, 1 impact hour, fine. I don't see anyone that has complained any time about the impact hours. And they're far way more subjective. And if any of you ever does one of those Sunday, sessions, you will realize. So why? Because you contribute, you see you're getting rewarded, you think it's fine, great. Of course, if you reward a lot and you see that you don't get contribution for the amount of effort you're putting, you may just raise your hand and try to see what's going on there. And that's what we're going to try to put there. Try to analyze the data a little bit deeper than what the guys at Sourcecred are doing. They don't have any tools to do that. We are starting to create them. And we will try to use them to measure or at least try to get the information as accurate as possible.
So I would like to make the case. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour. Can I just add one thing quickly?
Yeah, sure.
I would like to make the case for adding post and assuming people are innocent until proven guilty. And if we see it being abused, then we can take it off, because we do want people to post. And if it's something that they know that will have some sort of that we show our appreciation for them taking the time to post, then I think it's beneficial to us. And if we find that it's being abused, we can always change it afterwards.
That's great. I think we're on the top of the hour. We can continue tomorrow on the meeting that's already scheduled. I invite anyone to join us tomorrow for that meeting. We're going to focus expressly on this. And it's fine. If someone posts the wrong way, we have Jake that knows how to deal with these snake rattles, and he can probably use one of those.
Santi, you just answered it. You don't give a damn about these levers, and that's what I'm going to tell him. Look, I don't care what you post. No one gives a damn about the levers, so you just post away, cowboy.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll come. Let's continue this conversation tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.